Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Now that we've seen the end of the Modern Warfare 3 beta alongside our final major content update in Warzone and MW2 with The Haunting now live, we are officially in the end game. Yes, that's right. The end of MW2 is approaching, although it's not really the full end, it's just more of a transition period, I guess you could say. But regardless, we are in the final few weeks of the main first year of Modern Warfare 2, and so today I wanted to break down sort of what to expect in these final few weeks as we get to the launch of MW3, then shortly thereafter as well. There's a few key things you might want to note in regards to this period of COD. So as we get into the details, if you enjoy the video, if you find it helpful at all, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It's always seriously appreciated. And if you are new to the channel, you want to guarantee you're always up to date with everything going on between MW3, Warzone, and MW2, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. But yes, we are in the final few days of Modern Warfare 2's main year of support, and this is basically lasting up until the launch of MW3, at least as far as the multiplayer side of things goes. Obviously, Call of Duty for the past 2 decades basically has been a one-year title. The game launches in, October or November. It lasts until the next October or November. Then there's a brand new Call of Duty game. Same deal this year. MW2's multiplayer kind of going to be phased out once MW3 launches on November 10th. All the focus there is going to be on MW3. Now, that's not to say that Modern Warfare 2 campaign and Spec Ops and multiplayer is just going to be deleted from existence and Thanos snapped into a black hole, right? It's still going to be there. You can still play it whenever you want, and it actually might be useful to play it here and there, given a few certain circumstances. I'll talk more on that here in just a bit. But really, the only thing of Modern Warfare 2 that we can expect to quote-unquote live on beyond the end of it on November 10th when MW3 launches is DMZ. You may recall that Call of Duty did put out a post saying that DMZ's support is going to stay on MW2 specifically going into the MW3 year. However, DMZ is not going to be continuing in MW3 and Warzone. It's basically discontinued for the future, but will stay on MW2 with all these standard content it's got now. Now, as to how many updates we're going to see for that, we have no idea. They say they have some announcements coming, but I imagine that this is likely going to be a similar scenario to that of Caldera. Obviously, when Warzone 2 dropped, Caldera's support was still there. They didn't delete it entirely until obviously much later, but the game didn't get any updates. And frankly, Infinity Ward is going to be working on their next title for COD 2025 or COD 2026, whenever their next game's coming out. I'd be very surprised if they supported DMZ much in terms of content or updates after a year where they barely supported it with content and updates. But regardless, the quote-unquote end of MW2 starts with the transition of multiplayer and the main focus to MW3, but DMZ will still be the only actual MW2 based mode that is going to be relevant in its own way beyond the launch of MW3. This means no future updates for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, no future updates for Modern Warfare 2 Spec Ops. Obviously, the campaign for MW3 is a continuation and the sequel, I guess, to the MW2 campaign. So if you want to call that an update, I guess you can, but it's the next iteration in the story, obviously. DMZ is that only potential mode that will be changed. Now, presumably, MW2 obviously right now is in the stage of The Haunting. We've got all that stuff going on for this event. And once MW3 does launch, like I said, it's not like MW2 is just straight up being deleted. You'll still be able to access the game as normal. It just won't be the main COD with all the focus. So it's going to return back to normal MW2 after The Haunting. We're not going to have the Halloween theme obviously going on forever. We will be back to standard MW2 just like it was before the update, with all the basic core components there available for access to anyone who owns the game. Nothing out of the ordinary in regards to that. Now, because we are on the wind down period of Modern Warfare 2, this likely means that in these final few weeks we're not going to really see any more major updates. The Haunting was sort of that final send off in terms of content and major gameplay alterations like that. We might see some bug fixes here and there, but ultimately MW2's year of getting a bunch of support, if you want to refer to it as that, is pretty much done at this point. Maybe a few surprises leading into MW3. We do know that the battle pass for MW2 and Warzone right now. The season 6 pass is going to be live all the way until season 1 of MW3 in December, so you'll still be able to earn progress on that in Modern Warfare 2, in Warzone, in DMZ, or even in Modern Warfare 3, which is really cool. And then potentially we might end up seeing some double XP events, some double weapon XP, double battle pass XP stuff, because with MW3 obviously we're all going back to the start to level up the new guns and to grind out the new ranks there, so we might see that in the final few weeks as well. Outside of the specifics with the changes and updates and whatnot of the end of MW2, also, now that we're in this period of the game, it gives us a good chance to go back and sort of see what this year was, which I feel like the best way to put it bluntly is messy. Obviously, MW2 launched with the most hype ever. Its first couple of days of launch were the most successful for any COD title. And then, as we know, it kind of just stumbled off a cliff. The player base dwindled severely over the following months just because the game did not function well. It had so many bugs, glitches, and errors. And obviously, gameplay really, changed up from what was working well within Warzone 1 and MW 2019 in the past in terms of movement and different standard things in COD, whether it be the mini-map or anything like that. Obviously, MW2 really strayed away from the basics and the core mechanics for whatever reason. Their own direction with that was a little bit different, and it definitely didn't pan out, I would say, in the way that they had hoped. It kind of just felt like the game was sort of going against the grain all year. Okay, this is standard for COD, but what if we try this? And then most players didn't like it, but they never really reverted back. It just felt like a very awkward year. Also, support this year was kind of strange. You heard me mention, but DMZ was kind of like a main focus going into this year. Rumors had said that it was like the most developed mode, even though it's still technically a beta, which is kind of ironic there. But DMZ had a lot of support throughout the year in certain areas, but it didn't feel like it was really optimized in many ways. The past couple of seasons, they've made some quality of life changes to it in terms of limiting the, assimilation and whatnot, fixing some stuff for missions, adding in a few new ones, but they never really, I feel like, met its peak. There was so much potential with the mode going into it. There was a lot of hype around it, and they just didn't end up updating it all that much. Multiplayer really never saw any significant updates past like season 2 or season 3. During one of our dev calls before those ended up not being a thing, they said, we're pretty content with how multiplayer is right now. We don't really feel a need to change things up too much. So multiplayer got the very basic stuff. Every season it was a couple of maps, most of them being remasters, a few minor weapon adjustments here and there, and then the standard battle pass, new weapons, operators, stuff like that. So from a post-launch support stance, MW2 was definitely disappointing in that regard. Warzone had a few ups and downs throughout the year depending on what season it was, but ultimately it just ended up being a very awkward year of Call of Duty, and one that, just based off the feedback that you guys are giving, based off the general feedback that I see across socials, turned a lot of players away, unfortunately. Like I said, this game had so much hype going into it, a true sequel to MW 2019, which was wildly successful, and it turned out to be kind of a flop in some areas. I don't think the game was downright awful. There were definitely some positives in it. The camo challenges and that grinding system there I thought was really revamped in a fantastic way. We got obviously ranked now within Warzone, and even in multiplayer the systems work really good. So there were some positive takeaways, but for the most part this year I feel like was a little bit less memorable than previous ones, and hopefully MW3 can turn that around. So as we are now in the quote-unquote ending period of MW2, we got a couple of things to look out for in these final few weeks, but really it is all eyes on MW3 moving forward. As we see any new updates, any new details regarding this time of COD, the future of DMZ, anything else going on, you guys know I'm gonna have you covered, so stick it here for that alongside everything else going on in COD by hitting that subscribe button, and of course turning on those post notifications. And if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It would be really appreciated. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.